Chapter 7. The last days of summer break are some of the best of my life. Gavin runs with Sherlock and me in the mornings, and then Fiona, Mario, Gavin, and I spend time together when we can, at the park or in Old Town, or just hanging out at a coffee shop, talking and laughing about nothing and everything. Cross-country practice has already begun, and although I can't go out for the team this year because most of the race courses are over uneven terrain, dirt hills, or gravel paths where my running legs not designed to go, I run laps around the track and continue to do speed work. I race the straightaways, then jog the curves. Or I sprint a 200, then jog a 200. Or if the team's doing street work, I join them for that. For most of us, cross-country is what we do to build up our base for track. Kiro unofficially requires it unless you're doing another fall sport. And although I was never a fan of distance running before, Kiro's "you're on your honor to run this weekend" is what got me into running the Agri Bridge Loop. So I've been working hard and improving at a pretty good rate. I'm up to at least 8 miles a day. 5 of them with a wheelchair that my dad's made much easier to push. It now has big wheels, a padded seat, and a broader footrest, plus a serious seatbelt and a handbrake for safety. He's also welded a crossbar between the handles so I can push one-handed if my arms need a break. He didn't stop there either. He replaced the potting soil with 25-pound sandbags, got me bike gloves for my hands, which are a lifesaver, and added pouches to the sides for water bottles, which is something I've really needed in this heat. I also got a good tip from Hank. I put antiperspirant on my stump. I was sweating and getting hot spots on my leg, having to dry out my liner mid-run to keep from getting blisters. The antiperspirant has really helped. I've been avoiding Rosa's house because I didn't want her to know what I was planning until I was sure I could do it. I'm still not sure that I can, not even close to sure, but my mom brought up a good point. What if her mother doesn't want you to do this? So the Saturday before school starts, I finally decide that it's time, and I jog over to Rosa's house with Sherlock and the wheelchair. Rosa sees me coming. "Jessica!" she calls through the screen door. It's only 10 in the morning, but it's already 80 degrees out. A good day to stay inside. "Hey, what's that?" she asks, motoring out onto the porch. "Is your mom here?" I ask. "Mom!" she calls over her shoulder, then turns back to my wheelchair. "Who built that? What's in the seat? Where are you going?" Rosa's mom is on the porch now, too. "Hello, Jessica. Do you want to come in? It's awfully warm out here." No, I just need to ask you something." Rosa shakes her head. "All of us are asking questions. Who's got answers?" I smile at her. "I do. To answer yours first, my dad retrofitted my wheelchair so I could run with it." "You run with that?" Rosa asks. I nod. "And what's in the seat is one 25-pound sandbag and—" I pick up the white kitchen trash liner that's next to it, 2 5-pound sacks of flour. They both look at me like I've got sunstroke. I laugh, but I'm suddenly feeling very foolish. I focus on Rosa. "You know how you ask me about running? How you talk about the finish line? How it's some mystical thing that you wish you could experience?" Her eyes are growing wide. "Well, I've been running with this almost every day, adding weight to it, trying to build up to—" "Really?" she asks, and her eyes are enormous. "You're going to run me in that?" "What are you saying?" her mom asks, and there's definitely concern in her voice. "Well, I'm thinking Rosa and I could do the river run together. It's a 10-mile race, which is long, but it's the only community run around here. It's in November, so I have about 2 months to build up my endurance. But before I go any further with my training, I thought I should make sure it's okay with you, and make sure Rosa wants to do it. Yes, I absolutely want to, Rosa squeals from her seat. Yes! Mrs. Brazzy seems very skeptical. My dad's put on big tires and a padded seat to make the ride comfortable, plus there's a wide seat belt and a handbrake for safety. I feel like a used car salesman, and Mrs. Brazzy is looking at me like I am one. I promise I'll be safe, I tell her. Please, Mom, Rosa asks. Mrs. Brazzy sighs, then looks at me. It's you pushing, right? No one else? I nod. She looks at her daughter, looks at me, looks at the chair. Finally, she sighs again and says, If this is what you girls want... Awesome! Rosa cries. Then she looks at me with wide eyes and says, Can we try it now? I think about it, then give a little shrug. You probably ought to try out the chair and see how it feels. So while she powers down the porch ramp in her motorized wheelchair, I remove the sacks of flour and the sandbag from the running wheelchair. Then Rosa locks her wheels and does a transfer. She's wobbly on her legs, and they won't really support her, but the transfer is actually very smooth. Her mother fusses with the safety belt and says to Rosa, I'm going to get you a helmet. No, Rosa cries. No helmet. Rosa says it so forcefully that Mrs. Brazzy and I are both startled. I don't want to be the weird kid in the helmet, Rosa says quietly, and I want to feel the wind. I think back. How many times have I told Rosa about facing into the wind, cutting into the wind, feeling the wind run cool fingers through your hair? More than I can count. Believe me, I say to Mrs. Brazzy, I won't be going that fast. She considers all this, then heaves another sigh. Okay, then. Thank you, Mom, Rosa cries. Oh, thank you. So I push off and run Rosa around the block. One short block. Rosa's mother is waiting on the sidewalk when we return, and Rosa is ecstatic, bubbling about how much fun it is. Me, I'm pouring sweat and exhausted. I want to yank off my leg and jump in the mermaid fountain. It was only one block. One short block. Rosa and her mother have both come on board with this, but now I do seriously wonder about the sanity of it. If one block was this hard, how will I ever make 10 miles?